Awesome. So Valerie, just kind of briefly, like you've always, you seem to always been like entrepreneurial based. Like you said, you had a network marketing company. You were very production based. You grew up on a farm, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So what got you into like the online coaching? Like what led you to like say, hey, I'm just going to be an online coach. I'm going to do this. I'm going to, you kind of went from like a 180, like farming and everything to holistic healthcare, yoga, and then now nutritional counseling. What kind of flipped that switch for you?
Yeah, I definitely feel like so many people are on their phone, especially now since the whole pandemic and whatnot. People
Right.
see are on their phone, and there's so much like just not really good news on the social media.
Yeah.
So I wanted to shine some light in social media world about, healthy change, holistic change. And also too, I like to travel, so why not, do my business virtually so that I can travel and
Yeah,
work from
that
home.
that's my wife's love language is, does what we do, and she just does it. One of her main motivations is to see her younger nieces and nephews and to travel. She just loves to not have to be tied down or have a vacation request signed, or whatever that process looks like. So what led you, why the Macro Millionaire platform?
Oh, it's really good. It's like already like a built-in like good system. It's like the like email marketing, email campaigns and stuff like that are expensive. Like I've had them before. They're like $300 a month and it's
Dude,
already built in.
I know. I always talk people that don't know, like, texting campaigns and email campaigns, because before we had our business development app, we paid for all that stuff, and it was like, wow. So no, that's cool. That's really.
Yeah.
So how has it been? I know that you're kind of new in the program. How has it been going? We were kind of talking offline a little bit. We're like, hey, I'm sending 130 messages out a week. How has business been, and how do you feel about your future?
Yeah, dude, it's great. I feel really confident with like my reach outs and lead generation and creating these game plan calls. And it's really neat too. I've never been a part of a organization like Macro Millionaire where it's like there's 4 Zooms a week that I can jump in. What one on Monday nights where you can just like literally like send out messages and like bounce ideas off of other coaches too, like, hey, this person messaged me this, how am I supposed to reply to this, or what would be a good response to this to be able to help and add value to this person. And there's just so much good training too, like so many ideas that I haven't ever even thought about. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. And
Right.
it's just like endless. Like I just feel like I'm just getting started with everything.
I think, Valerie, that is like one of the most undervalued things in our network, because people really just they don't know it till they experience it, I feel. And I was the same way. Like before I went to, my wife was in network marketing, I just didn't get it. And she'd go on all these Zooms, and she'd be on these team meetings, and I just never really got it until I plugged in, and I was like, wow. I mean, we're talking to like doctors and some of the greatest minds out there, and just all like bonding together to try to get each other to succeed. We are all in business for ourselves, but not by ourselves. And so I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because I feel like that's one of the things that keeps me going is like, hey, we got our Tuesday science call, or our Monday lead reach out, or our Thursday roundtable. I just think there's incredible value to that. So I'm glad that you like that.
Yeah, definitely. And there's so many good resources. Like there's just I haven't even like got into all of what Macro Millionaire has to offer either. Like I'm like today I was just going through some of the training videos and I'm like, this is like I'm hardly halfway there. And I've been looking at stuff since I started a few months ago.
No, that's cool. Was there any fear, like before you got into the program? Like, I mean, you went from like, hey, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this business. Was there any fear, or were you pretty much just like, you know what, I've been a client. I'm gonna rock and roll.
Uh so the only fear that is like jumping out to me was like, is this valid for me? I know like I'm like, I have to know that works for me
Sure.
before I can like make sure this works for other people.
Yeah,
And it
totally.
works, like I said, when I was coaching, that's how I started the whole thing, was just like being a client. And I'm like, if it works for me, if this food addict and overeater and stress eater and binge eater can actually like make this a sustainable life change, then yes, then I'll give it a consideration. And it totally did that for me. And I was sold. Like, I'm like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is like perfect timing for me.
Very, very cool. So if I'm a coach out there or a potential coach and I'm watching this, what would be the one piece of info or of motivation or advice that you would give me if I'm like on the fence? I'm like, I don't know, or I'm scared. What would be the one thing that you would say to that person?
Um, like just do it all, like play all in for like 60 days. Play
Love
100% in for
it.
60 days. And if it doesn't work, get your misery back or get your life back or whatever. But like give it a try, give it a heart, like show up, do your best, ask questions, don't be afraid to fail at, send a lot of messages. It's okay. It's okay. You're
Yeah.
gonna be okay.
I love that. I love that because, my wife says the same. You go all in for 60 days. She did. She started January with a 3-week burst, she called it. And it was just all in for 3 weeks. And it just was crazy. Like people around the country were like calling her like, what are you doing? It was really cool. So I love that advice. Well, Valerie, thank you so much for your time, your energy, your advice. This can potentially, or will not potentially, this will change someone's life. This will get a coach to believe in themselves, get in here and do what we do and join our tribe and make us all stronger. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.